Hello there and welcome to another video, and today I shall be talking about the third instalment in the Mobile Suit Gundam movie franchise, Encounters in Space. And I'm sure you watched my previous two videos on the previous two movies, and once again, as with all these videos, this will be spoiler heavy, and you should have watched all these movies beforehand before I talk about what happened in this one and all I'm going to discuss regarding it. So anyway, without further ado, what I have to say is the action was just excellent in this movie. It really was. The action sequences were just superb, much better than in the previous two installments, that's for sure. I said in my previous video that this movie uses predominantly new animation, and you can just really tell. The animation looks so much better. I mean, you can still tell it looks dated for the most part, but it's just done to such an advanced level and such a high standard that even today it looks excellent. I can't believe I was worried about that back in the past, where I wouldn't watch the original Mobile Suit Gundam because I was afraid of the animation quality. This one is just so good, it looks absolutely great. And with all the different action sequences, you get all the different space battles that they have, that the white base have to face off against, like the Battle of Solomon, and also the absolute epic, and I don't use that word lightly like everyone else does, epic Battle of Abaraku, which was just, wow. That was great, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. And the absolute crazy, equipment that Zeon and the Earth Federation wheel out, just their super weapons that they end up firing against each other and using against each other, like the super big Zam mobile armor, which wipes out so many of the Federation forces. You have Lalo and Elmeth, where the Federation don't know what's going on, they just have their ships just being destroyed because they're not used to funnels yet or anything else like that at this point. You have the solar ray laser the Earth Federation uses against Zeon and Solomon, and you also have the absolute huge space laser which Gurren uses to wipe out Rebel and his own father at the peace talks. And that was interesting, really. I guess Decorin kind of decided that he kind of wanted peace also, and enough people had died in this thing, and he had also achieved what he wanted to achieve, really, in that Zeon has kind of achieved their independence for themselves, and they're shown the Federation what they're all about, really, and shows they're not going to be trampled over. But Gurren, I think, wanted an absolute victory, and so he decides to wipe them both out, including his own father. And the Zabi family really do come across like a treacherous bunch. They really do. Especially you have Chrysalia later wipe out Gurren later on. And I thought, I was expecting something like that to happen. What I wasn't expecting is for them to just leave Gurren's dead body with a hole in his head just floating around as a ship. I thought that was pretty weird. But still, it was really cool. Everything about this, I don't really have much bad to say about this movie whatsoever. It was just a feast for the eyes from start to finish. It really was, especially that Battle of Abaraku, like I said. I mean, when it comes to the Battle of Abaraku, what I really liked about it is that when you take the finale of the series, it could have been really easy for the Tomino and Sunrise, to just have it just a final battle in their mobile suits, as easy as that. But no, I think it was really cool how they had all the characters have to abandon the ship, go into the Abaraku base and fight hand to hand and with pistols, and to fight face to face. I think that was really good for the character development, to see how much they've grown, see how they'll be able to handle the situation and all that kind of stuff. It was a really, really gripping finale. It made it all the more tense, really, and that's the thing that I remember the most, that finale on Abaraku. That was just spectacular to watch, and I think it was done really well. just kind of how they portrayed the desperation of the whole thing, which is amazing. It was a little bit weird how like seeing how dangerous a situation they were in compared to what they've been in before, that no one died on a Boku, like no one of like the white base crew like met their ends there. And maybe that has to do with what happened with like Amuro's like new type powers, like at the end there, telling everyone where to be and where to go to remain safe. Maybe it was something to do with that, I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of funny how like none of them died at that point, considering that characters had died earlier on due to like less dangerous circumstances, shall we say. But yeah, moving on to the characters, and I said how in the last film, like Amuro, in the last two films, Amuro was always a little bit whiny and was just not totally committed to being on the white base. He kind of wanted to be somewhere else. He didn't really want to take responsibility for being a soldier. Whereas at this point, he's like totally, committed. He's definitely committed to the white base and their cause. You can see that. The moment they get back into space at the beginning of this movie, his piloting skill has like increased exponentially. Like you can see like how his new type powers have like increased his piloting potential in space, that's for sure. How he just goes around like destroying space battleships for fun out there when he first gets into space, which you didn't really see him do before the last time he was in space at the end of the first movie. And of course we have to talk about him and Lala. And that scene where he meets Lala, like at the lake, where you see the swan and like the rain falling down, that was just such a good scene. I mean, that's probably one of my favourite scenes actually in any anime series. I mean, that was just so mesmerising to watch. It's the only way I can put it. When you're watching that scene, it's like time stands still. It's like they really captured like the mystical nature of like Lala's character. She has like this kind of mythical kind of presence like throughout, and that scene kind of captured that. You know, you got the feeling that this was some kind of special person in that sense, and that scene was just so well done. Like I said, it's just like time stood still when you're watching it. It was just so like mesmerising to watch. And what happens with him and Lala, of course, with like with Amuro accidentally taking Lala's life near the end, was like really heartbreaking to watch, because they had that connection, like that connection on a new type level, even though they'd only met each other once or twice, and it shows like the potential that new types have from here on in, that they're able to have like that kind of connection with each other, and they're capable of all these kind of different things. So it'll be interesting where they go from here in like Zeta Gundam and the next series to come. And of course you have Sailor and Char also in this, and you get to find out why it is that Char's doing what he's doing, and that him and Sailor are like the children of Zeons and Daikun, and that the Zabis were basically going after them and trying to get rid of them also, and that Char basically took the idea to basically infiltrate Zeon and therefore find a way to get rid of the Zabi family from the inside. And interestingly enough, he doesn't really have to do much, does he, to be honest, because they just end up killing each other. You know, like Giran ends up killing his own father, Degwin. Kycelia takes out Giran. All he has to do in the end is take out Kycelia, because Dozal had already died by that point. He got taken out by Sleggo and Amuro, didn't he, by that point? So then he had to take out Kycelia, which was another really good scene, by the way, where he just floats past the window of Kycelia's ship as she's trying to escape the Boku, and he just fires the rocket in and the head just gets blasted straight off. That was really like amazing to see. I wasn't expecting to see that, but that was quite the finale there, has to be said. And so it'll be interesting to see where they go with these characters in the future. I'm sure with what happens with Lala soon, it's going to affect like Amuro and Char deeply. In the coming series, we'll probably know that event has like with what happened with Lala has definitely like affected them a lot. And another thing, I said in like my previous video, it looked like Mirai and Bright were going to get together, but she ends up like falling for Slega Law, actually like belted her one early in the film. Like slapped her around the face. So that was kind of weird to see, and that kind of came a little bit out of left field. I think that did happen in the novel also, but I was kind of forgotten about that, but oh well. So yeah, I absolutely adored this film. This really did like make the series for me. Like I said, like the previous two films I did really like, but I don't think they're anything too special. But this movie and this part of the Gundam series is absolutely superb. I absolutely loved it. It was just so good. Definitely one of the best anime movies I've ever seen. Oh, excuse me again. And it was just incredible. And I can't believe I put off like watching the original Gundam like series, although in movie form, for this as long as I did. I mean, I should have done it a lot sooner. It was like my fault for being too pessimistic about the animation style. It really was worth the worth the ride. Bit of a tough one to get out there. Bit of a tongue twister, worth the ride. I can say it now, but anyway. Yeah, it definitely was good. Yes. I think for anyone coming into the Gundam series though, in my opinion, I think it's best to start with like the OVA series surrounding the 1 Year War. I think they're probably the best ones to see. I mean, I talked about this earlier. I was watching these with my wife, and I actually introduced her to Gundam first of all through the Gundam The Origin series, like the OVA series which came out. And I think they actually work in like establishing like the background of all the characters beforehand before you go into this. I think she found it was something that helped her understand everything on like a greater level. And if you haven't seen those yet after watching this, I definitely recommend you go and see those also. But yeah, it really was great, this film. It really was, especially about Aku. That's something that I'm going to watch again sometime, like these movie trilogies, that's for sure, and especially that battle at Aku. But anyway, next up, in my next video, I am going to be talking about the beginning parts of Zeta Gundam. I must warn you now that I have seen Zeta Gundam before, and it is my favourite anime of all time. I absolutely adore Zeta Gundam. And about myself, it was like the second Universal Century Gundam series I ever saw. I watched it after I saw 8 from S-Team. And yeah, I just absolutely love it. So on my next set of videos, we will be going through Zeta Gundam and talking about that. Please let me know what you thought about the Mobile Suit Gundam movie trilogy and also the series as a whole. I'd really like to know what you thought. And yeah, I'll see you again in my next video.